A senior from Plano, Texas, Ira Alexeva. A sophomore from Seattle, Washington, Anna Roberts. A sophomore from Emerald Hills, California, Portia Trinidad. A junior from Rancho Cucamonga, California, Brenna Nolt. And the Cardinal are led by head coach Tabitha Yim and assistant coaches Vince Murrow and Hallie Mosette. Please welcome Stanford.
Faster than a hairpin trigger. Don't you say it. One breath, it'll just break. So shut your mouth and run me like a river, like a river. Shut your mouth and run me like a river. Choke this out to the veins like a shiver. To the pits like a river, like a river. Shut your mouth and run me like a river. Shut your mouth and run me like a river.
Now fans, get on your feet and get loud for your University of Utah Red Rocks, presented by AFCU. A sophomore from Las Vegas, Nevada, Sarah Crump. A freshman from Indianapolis, Indiana, Elizabeth Gettner. A sophomore from Hockessin, Delaware, Ashley Glenn. A freshman from Stillwater, Minnesota, Ella Zervez. A senior from Temecula, California, Alani Sabado. A freshman from Orem, Utah, Cami Winger. A fifth-year senior from Las Vegas, Nevada, Miley O'Keefe. A sophomore from Albuquerque, New Mexico, McKenna Smith. A junior from Isanti, Minnesota, Grace McCallum. A fifth-year senior from Mesa, Arizona, Jaden Rocker. A fifth-year senior from Anoka, Minnesota, Abby Paulson. A freshman from Maryville, Tennessee, Olivia Kennedy. And a senior from McKinney, Texas, Jaylene Gilstrap. And let's hear it for your 2024 Red Rocks. The Utes are led by assistant coaches Jimmy Pratt and Maya Hambrook and head coach Carly Dockendorf. Gymnasts, please move to your first event. Utah to the vault, Utah State to bars, Stanford to the beam. Time warm-ups will begin in 2 minutes.
The final meet of the regular season, Utah and Stanford getting ready for the Pac-12 championships. The final one, by the way, next weekend out at the Maverick Center. And Utah State getting ready for its conference championship as well in the Mountain West Conference. It will take place next Saturday, just like the Pac-12 championships. And here we go for these three teams. One last time to put up a good score for the individuals. One last set of performances before we go to the postseason.
Yeah, I think they'll really try to get that 198 plus tonight and just enjoy the fact that it's these seniors' last moment here in the Huntsman Center and take advantage of it. There's a pretty big crowd already, and we know that people continue to file in, and it'll be a special night for everyone.
All right, tonight's meet being brought to you by America First, the official credit union of the U of U. Since 1939, America First has been cheering on its members and helping them realize their financial dreams. And whatever goals you've set for yourself, your family, or your business, America First, unbeatable lineup of products, tools, and services can help you reach them. If you're ready to score the all-around best financial solutions in the state, become a member today at AmericaFirst.com or your neighborhood branch, and let's go Red Rocks. Well, Kendall, you mentioned that 198 score. That seems to be the hallmark of where you want to be. Utah already had a season high score above that mark. Good score on the road last week, their best road score, second best score of the year. But Carly Dockenov told us this week, we really like to get one more 198 plus score, because in the NQS you got to drop your highest score. So you get one more 198 plus score in there. She thinks that will at least help them stick in the number 5 spot, and that's where you want to be going to regionals.
Yeah, I think that that's a really important benchmark, but also you look at the top scores for the top 3 teams, and they're all have that NQS of over 198, which means they've scored 198 and much higher than that multiple times. And so I think that that's a really important note to take, is like Utah needs to get up there with that. And as we know, regular season, each region scores differently, each school scores differently. So the SEC scores a little bit higher, and when you get to nationals, it evens out. But I still think that Utah needs to see that 198 to really have a shot at the national championship title, and hopefully then getting a good ranking moving into regionals.
Yeah, look at the national rankings. Obviously, Oklahoma has been number 1 the entire year. LSU's moved up. They've gotten warm as of late. They're ranked second right now. Cal at 1.2. They slid down to 3, but still very solid in that 3 spot. You've got this Florida team, Kendall, that had some lower scores early. They have been climbing up the rankings. They're around 4th at 197.820. They host a regional site, as does Cal and Arkansas and Michigan. So right now, Utah in that 5 spot. They would go to Florida, Kentucky, the number 6 team, and they are just 2.2 tenths behind the Red Rocks. As you said, in the SEC, they'll get some high scores at that meet. That could give Kentucky a chance to slide up, but we'll see all about that in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think normally we're like, well, it doesn't really matter what you I mean, it matters what you score, but not whether you win. However, like, the scoring does matter at some point when you get into that mid-range of top 10, because it impacts where you go for regionals and who else is with you at regionals. And so at this point, Utah really needs to make a push here at the end.
All right, so we are underway. Olympic rotation for the Red Rocks. They start on vault. Utah State on bars, and Stanford on beam. We'll have all 3 going at the same time, unless we have competitors on both beam and floor, and then they will alternate so that the music can play and everyone can enjoy that. So we are set to go. Utah State, Stanford underway, and now first up for the Red Rocks, Cammie Winger, the freshman, will lead things off.
Yes, and Cammie Winger will open up this vault lineup with a 10-0 vault. She does a Yurchenko 1.5. Has a nice block and distance, and a pretty controlled single foot movement back. So that'll be a deduction on the landing. Maybe could have been a bit higher, but got a lot of distance on that vault, and a good start for the Red Rocks.
So Cammie Winger vaulting all but 1 meet this year. In fact, she's gone now the last 5, already 2 wins for her. Had a 9.85 last week against Arizona, freshman from Orem, Utah, out of Timpanogos High School. So Cammie Winger, followed by Ella Zerbis, Ashley Glenn, McKenna Smith, Jaden Rucker, and Grace McCallum for the Red Rocks, and Jaylene Gilstrap will be the alternate tonight. First competitors have gone for both Utah State and Stanford. Avery Bibby over on bars, and I believe I saw, what, a 9-7 score?
Oh, you're better than me. I haven't seen
check
anything.
on that. Claire Dean performing first on beam for Stanford. So we'll check those scores in a moment. And we apologize if it's hard to keep up. We've got as many as 3 events going at one time. But this will move the meet along much nicer than having them once at a time. Let's go over to bars. And just as I say that, Danny Christine took a fall for Utah State.
Yeah, and just couldn't hold on to that Saposh on the low bar. And moving back to vault while she chalks up, Ella Zerbis, the freshman, does the same vault Cami Winger just did, a 1.5, and a beautiful stuck landing. Gorgeous vault for Ella. She has just really started to shine in the back half of this season.
Has gone on vault every meet this year, had a 9-9 last week against Arizona. Her best score of the year came here in the Huntsman against Stanford with a 9.925. Freshman out of Stillwater, Minnesota. Let's go back to bars. Danny Kirstein is back on the apparatus.
Yeah, and has had to repeat her entire bar routine and did a really nice job coming through. And you just never know what's going to happen in the back half of that lineup. So putting up the best routine you can, even after a fall, is really important, especially first up. And she did a very nice job finishing there.
So Kirstein capable of a 9.9, junior from Las Vegas. That's unfortunate for the Aggies. They had that fall early in their first rotation. Second up on balance beam, Jalen Wynn for Stanford. She is their, again, number 2 performer on that event.
Nice jump pass, good switch side.
We'll get our third unit on vault in just a moment. Ashley Glenn now ready to go for Utah.
And Ashley Glenn does that same vault, gets a lot of height, just opens out a bit early and has a small step back. Can't quite tell if she was on that line or out of bounds, which is a deduction, but maybe we'll be able to tell on the replay. But that also maybe means the judges couldn't tell, or maybe I just am at a weird angle, who knows.
So Ashley Glenn third up, has gone every single meet this year. Career best score for her of a 9.925 against Arizona State to win in that competition. Scored a 9.9 2 weeks ago against Cal.
Yeah, and Terrelyn Wynn had a pretty nice beam routine. Her ending there, just a pretty large hop on the dismount. I think we'll get a replay of it here. Yeah, round off double full and just not as big of a hop as I maybe alluded to, but a hop there at the end.
All right, some early scoring here before we go back to vault and McKenna Smith. Cami Winger, a 9.85. Ella Zerbis, a 9.925. Ashley Glenn, a 9.85. Those are the first 3 scores up for Utah on vaults. On bars for Utah State, Bibby the fall. Actually, Kirstein was the fall, correct? So it was Bibby's 9.725. Kirstein the fall. Then over on beam, Dean with a 9.875. For Stanford, we just saw Terrelyn Wynn perform. We'll get her score in just a moment. All right, so McKenna Smith now up on vault for Utah.
She does that half on pike off, a million check, and again, just a little short, kind of like Ashley Glenn was. Opened out, but had just a tiny small step backwards. So a deduction, but overall, pretty clean vault.
Let's go over to beam now, and Sienna Robinson performing for Stanford.
This goes for her series here. Back handspring layout, step out, really solid landing. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of going on in this meet right now.
So Robinson's best score of the year, a 9.95. That happened last week in the meet at Cal. Scored a 9.9 here against the Red Rocks back on February 23rd. Freshman from Las Vegas.
Yeah, I liked her lead passes. She hit that 180-degree split. You really need to hit that or go above that in order for you not to get a deduction. And it looks really nice. Good full turn there.
All right, back over to vaults. Jaden Rutger for Utah.
Oh, huge vault from Jaden. Gets a ton of height on that. Kind of had a wobbly landing, but was able to hang on to the stick. So a small deduction, but really good vault and something that Jaden feels great about, especially doing that tonight on senior night. She's been looking for it, had some trouble in the beginning of the season, in the middle of season, and has worked to get here.
So Jaden Rucker, an All-American in 22 and 23, scored 3 10s last year for Utah and had 2 of those at the regionals in Los Angeles. Scored a 9.925 last week. You mentioned her struggles. You know, she admitted a few weeks ago that she was having some just kind of mental issues she was dealing with, lack of confidence. She tweaked her knee early in the year, and that perhaps played a part in it, but now really kind of getting herself centered, it seems like, as we head toward the back end of the schedule here.
Yeah, and I think your knee, especially when Jaden's doing powerful tumbling, powerful vaulting, can be a little scary, and that vault right there, the 1.5 landing forward, is definitely something that scares you with that a little bit of a tweaked knee. And so it's nice to see her gain some of that confidence back and put out a really nice vault there.
All right, we'll get the score for Sienna Robinson on beam in just a moment as she just wrapped up for Stanford. Back to vault. Here's Grace McCallum.
And she goes back to her older vault. It was that half on, front tuck half, and just a slight feet slide back on the landing, but gets a good amount of distance on that. And I think refreshing for her to have a nice vault too. And that's a 10-0 start value.
Yeah, so she was training a double and said, you know, ever since my wrist surgery before my college career, it just hasn't come as easy. I was trying to get to go and have been performing a full, and finally, when I talked to her, said, you know, we might go back to my freshman year vault. 1.5, it starts at 10, and she rolled it out last week, and we saw once again here tonight, and it looks like that's how she's going to roll the rest of the year on this event.
Yeah, and I think with that wrist surgery, the block on that double full is a pretty significant angle and can be painful. So I think she wasn't just getting that block, and I don't think she had the flexibility that she really wanted for that as well.
So Grace McCallum, a 9.825, debuting the 1.5 last week. Tonight, a 9.925, so a season-high score for Grace McCallum. How about the Red Rocks? They scored 49.5 on vault. They had a 9.85 from Cami Winger. Ella Zerba's a 9.925. That equals McCallum for the best score of the rotation on vault. Ashley Glenn a 9.85, McKenna Smith a 9.9, Jaden Rucker a 9.9, and then McCallum with a 9.925, and now Jaylene Gilstrap exhibition.
Yeah, beautiful vault for Jaylene. A good Yurchenko full, and something that doesn't start from that 10-0, but if you execute it perfectly and you get the stick, it can be really competitive in that scoring. And Jaylene has been in the lineup some, but it's nice to see that putting herself out there for a very nice vault there.
So Jaylene announcing this week she'll come back for her extra year, coming off a 9.8 score at Cal, did not compete against Arizona. So Gilstrap going exhibition. The Red Rocks are done on vault, which always moves quickly. Checking some scoring for Utah State over on bars. Her best score of the rotation was a 9.9 from Juliet Boyer, who just concluded. Brianna Brooks will go last for them on bars. She is chalking up and ready to go in just a moment. And for Stanford on beam, they've got 3 scores up, still looking for their first 9.9 score after Dean went 9.875, win a 9.825. Robinson a 9.775. Brenna Nault will be next up for them over on balance beam, and we can watch her right now.
And Brenna Nault actually just went.
Okay.
She had that 9.825, beautiful ring jump, and a really nice landing on her dismount. So a good routine for Stanford.
All right, so it will be Alex Ava performing now for Stanford.
Has this beautiful press mount on the beam, shows incredible strength, balance, and it's just incredibly impressive.
Here, Alex Ava, senior from Plano, Texas, and had a 9.975 score, career best score last week against California. Also coming off a 9.95 at UCLA, so very solid back-to-back scores for Alex Ava.
Yeah, and has a little balance check on that wolf turn and goes into her series here. Nice landing. Could look for a little bit more height change in that back handspring layout. You want to get a little bit more amplitude. So a little bit of a wobble there on that switch half. Making sure she gets her leaps in. You have to make sure you get that combination. Gainer front full. Almost had the stick, just had to move that foot a little bit, so a small deduction there. A good routine, but a few deductions throughout.
All right, so Ira Alexeva, a bars and beam performer for Stanford this year, went floor once against ASU back on February 9th. But again, capable of a 9.925 plus score on both her events.
And checking in with Utah State over on bars, their final performer.
So Brianna Brooks, a 9.825 to wrap it up. Their best score of the rotation, a 9.9 by their number 5 performer, Juliet Boyer. Boyer, a grad student from Daly City, California.
Yeah, and I unfortunately missed Brianna Brooks's bar routine. There's a lot going on in this meet.
Yeah, a lot going on, and they are trying to move through it, so
it's good practice for postseason.
Sure is. Over on bars, we'll see exhibition from Angel Stewart here, I believe, in just a moment.
I think, Mike, she just went, actually.
Okay, just wrapped up.
And I think it was a nice routine right up until that dismount, and she took a few steps back and rolled out of it a bit.
Okay. So you're right, Utah's moved over to bars now to warm up. They are well done on vault, and that is our first rotation, I believe, unless we've got one more for Stanford over on beam. Anna Roberts was set to go exhibition.
Well, it's just, I know it doesn't fit the aesthetic of gymnastics, but I have been a proponent. We need numbers. It'd be really nice to have numbers so that you know which gymnast is competing if you turn and cut over at the last second.
We actually have one more scoring performer to go. Chloe Widner performing for Stanford over on balance beam.
Really nice jump pass there. Definitely got a little bit above that 180-degree mark.
So Chloe, the Pac-12 Specialist of the Week after a career high score of a 10.0 against Cal last weekend. Also had a 9.975 earlier this year against Utah here in Salt Lake. That's the first 10.0 score by a Stanford gymnast since April of 2018.
So far, this has been a really beautiful routine. She gets a lot of height on her jumps. Had a very nice series as well.
Chloe, a fifth-year senior from Frisco, Texas. And looking for Stanford's first 9.9 score in this event tonight.
And I think if she continues, she's definitely capable of getting that. Gainer full off the side, beautiful landing. Yes, that should go 9.9.
So Chloe Widner, a 10.0 last week, found perfection on beam. She'll have another solid score in the best of the rotation for Stanford to anchor their beam lineup. And as I mentioned, they have Anna Roberts set to go exhibition. We'll see if she does perform on that apparatus. Utah's already rotated the bars. They're warming up. And in rotation 2, Utah State will go to beam. Stanford will go to floor exercise.
Moving quickly.
All right, so we'll get the score from Chloe Widner in just a moment. And it does appear Anna Roberts will warm up and go while we have a moment. I'd like to remind you tonight's meet being brought to you by America First Credit Union. And this Red Rock season brought to you by America First, the only place you can get the exclusive Youth Visa debit card. America First can help you, your family, or your business reach any financial goal faster. So wherever life takes you, make sure you've always got the home floor advantage by becoming a member today at your neighborhood branch or at AmericaFirst.com.
Yeah, so checking in with some of the scoring. Utah's 49.5 is a really great start for them on vault. It's one of their high scores of the season. Their season high on that event is a 49.525, so just above that 49.5. So a really great start for them. Good improvement.
And that score coming against Oregon State over a month ago. So if you're looking to build momentum to postseason and be feeling good about things, that's certainly a nice score to throw up in your first rotation.
Absolutely. Just exactly what they were hoping to do here tonight.
But the Red Rocks have gone below a 49.4 the last 2 weeks on vault with a 49.3 at Cal and a 49.350 at Arizona. Utah, in terms of event rankings, that is their lowest event vault. They are 9th in the country this week. They're 6-arm bars, 4th arm beam, and 6-arm floor. As we head to the last 3 events for Utah, let's go back to beam. Anna Roberts, exhibition, the last performer of this first rotation.
Yeah, an exhibition, especially in an arena that's full, is great for getting some experience. Had an unfortunate fall on her series, but has done a really nice job finishing up this routine.
So Roberts, no scoring performances on beam this year, has gone as high as a 9.9 during her career. Sophomore from Seattle.
It's a long season, so making sure that you have everyone ready to go as you enter postseason is extremely important, especially when you start to have some back-to-back meets. Nice ending there.
So that will do it for our first rotation. The Red Rocks, their second best score of the year. Arm vault, a 49.5. Utah State, a 48.9. Arm bars, not a bad start for Stanford. They go above a 49 with a 49.225. Arm balance beam. So when we come back with rotation 2, Utah goes to bars. Utah State to beam, Stanford to floor. We'll be back with more in just a moment. This is Red Rocks Gymnastics from League 5 Stanford and Utah State. Mike Lageschild and Kendall Robarts Palm with you. So in our first rotation, Utah, its second best score of the year, a 49.5 on vault. Utah State over on bars, a 48.9. In Stanford, as they come in ranked 16th in the country on beam, they score a 49.225. They have at least 3 scores better than that this year. But still, pretty good start for Stanford in here at the Huntsman Center, as well as the Utes.
Yeah, I think ultimately a pretty good start all across the board. Utah coming in with their second best vaulting of the season, but the other 2 a little bit more middle of the road on those first 2 events. But I think once you get your feet set, sometimes this arena and the crowd can be, and there was a lot going on, you could tell. So I think getting settled in, we might see the other 2 teams start to improve here.
All right, tonight's meet being brought to you by KeyBank, official sponsor of Utah Gymnastics. Let's check the best scores from our first rotation. Over on vault for Utah, they had 4 scores of 9.9 or better. They dropped one of the 9.85s they got from Cami Winger and from Ashley Glenn. They got a 9.925 from Ella Zerbiz, a 9.9 from McKenna Smith and Jana Rucker, also a 9.925 from Grace McCallum. And it's pretty good scoring right there for Utah. Gets them a 49.5.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what Utah's been looking for. A big improvement. Still some steps on the landing, but pretty controlled overall and not due to really short landings. And that's kind of what we've seen. And to finally have Grace McCallum and Jaden Rucker come in and throw up some 9.9 pluses, I think on that back half has made a really big difference on this lineup.
All right, for Utah State on bars, they did get 1.99 score from Juliet Boyer, their number 5 performer. Brianna Brooks in the anchor spot, a 9.825, so the Aggies score a 48.9. And for Stanford over on beam, strong close by Chloe Winder, the reigning Pac-12 Conference Specialist of the Week after getting a 10 last week against Cal. She scores a 9.925 tonight. Also a 9.875 from Claire Dean in the leadoff spot, a pair of 9.825s from Carolyn Wynn and also Brenna Nault. Stanford scores a 49.225. So after our first rotation, the Red Rocks in first place at 49.5. Stanford second at 49.225, and the Aggies at 48.9. Now we go to our second rotation. Utah goes to bars, Utah State to beam, Stanford over to floor. So beam and floor in this tri-meet will not go at the same time. They wanted to let the performers have their own music and not have competing, so we'll have Utah just going at their own pace over on bars. Beam and floor will rotate for Utah State and Stanford.
Yes, should be another busy rotation.
We'll try and stay on top of it for you with everything going on. I want to remind you we'll be at the Maverick Center in West Valley City next week for the Pac-12 Championships, the final Pac-12 Championships. Utah will be in the night session. And based on national qualifying scores, Cal will be the 1 seed. Utah the 2 seed. UCLA right now sitting in the 3 spot. Oregon State will be the 4. So UCLA ranked 11th. Oregon State 17. That will be your top 4 next Saturday night at the Maverick Center.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a farewell tour to the Pac-12, and I know that these teams have really enjoyed a healthy rivalry, such a good gymnastics conference, but enjoying the last meet. And you know, everyone wants the last one, so it should be a fierce competition and really, really great gymnastics to watch.
Utah's won 3 in a row at the Pac-12 championships.
And you know, Cal's looking to knock them off that podium.
Absolutely. Well, some of the best news for Utah is Emily Morgan will be back. She's at the English Championships this weekend, and she's coming back home early this week. And I know they'll be excited to get her 9-9 scores and bars and beam back in the rotation for Utah. All right, we're underway with our second rotation tonight on beam. Sydney Jalen underway. Let's go over to bars. McKenna Smith leads things off for Utah.
Kind of opens with a beautiful cast handstand and a very nice pack salto, clean in the air. Another nice handstand. Good toe on, right into that posh half. Nice toe hand. Pike half, and just the hop on the dismount. Other than that, a really clean routine for McKenna, and filling in for Emily on that first up spot. She's done such a good job, and beautiful routine for her.
So McKenna Smith going on bars every meet this year. In fact, she's done all around 8 of the previous 10 meets, coming off a 9.85 score last week against Arizona. Her best score of the year was against Stanford here, a 9.975 to win the event that night. But as you said, that leadoff spot so critical, and Emily's held it down so well. McKenna doing a nice job filling that role for at least one more time here tonight. We can go over to floor now, check in on Stanford. Claire Dean to lead things off for them.
She sets up here for her first tumbling pass. She opens with the front 1.5. Maybe a little direction on that.
So Claire Dean, a sophomore from Piedmont, California. Her best score of the year came last week against Cal with a 9.875. Has gone as high as a 9.9 during her career. And she's been an all-arounder in all but 2 meets for Stanford this season.
Second pass here. Just 1.5, front full. Really clean, nice landing. Great second pass for Claire. And I really like her choreography. She's engaging and just a beautiful dancer.
All right, McKenna Smith, a 9.875 to start things on bars for Utah. Next up, one of the rookies, Cami Winger. And just like Ella Zerbas, these two have really been rounding into form the last month or so.
Yeah, they have. I think the freshmen have finally settled in, and we're starting to see how much they're going to contribute throughout their career.
So Cami Winger in that 2 spot, going just for the 3rd time on bars this year. Came off a 9.875 score at Arizona last week.
Yeah, and this bar routine's been really clean, maybe a little reachy on some of her releases. Half in, half out, nice duck dismount. I think that should be a pretty good score for Cami. Good for her.
Cami Winger from Orem, Utah, was a national runner-up on bars at the 2021 Level 10 National Championships. Also 4th in the all-around at the 22 and 23 Level 10 Nationals. So Cami going second for Utah. Again, a 9.875 from McKenna Smith to start it. Ella Zerbas, Miley O'Keefe, Grace McCallan, and Alani Sabato will be the last 4 for Utah. We'll also see exhibition from Abby Paulson on bars.
You know, you got to get that senior night bar routine in.
Absolutely. All right, we go over to beam now. Jenna Eagles, second up for Utah State under dismounts.
Yeah, and it's been a really clean routine. Stuck that 1.5 can be difficult to do. So a good second up for Utah State on beam.
Sydney Jelen led off the rotation for the Aggies on beam with a 9.75. Amari Evans, Danny Christine, Brianna Brooks, and Lexi Aragon will be the last 4 for the Aggies on that event. So let's go to floor. And the score's up for Claire Dean, a 9.775. And second up, Amanda Zhang for the Cardinal.
Some Mario Kart music. Front layout, front Rudy. A clean landing, just maybe a little low on that. Oh, and just moving over to bars for Ella Zerbis. Just went really big on that ray. So toe on Tkachev and just wasn't able to catch the bar. She just got a little too much height and distance on that.
Well, before that performance and that fall there, been trending and performing very well for the Red Rocks. Had 3 missed routines in her first 5. Since then, she had 3 9-9 scores or better. And a season best score of a 9.925 against Stanford and Arizona. Won't get there tonight.
No, and you can see the frustration, but she's someone who's just really needed to figure out the college competition and settling in. And, you know, you're allowed to have some room to figure it out. And hopefully this is her last little mental lapse before we get into postseason.
Well, as we talked to Carly Dockendorf, I think she's had the right approach. She said, you know what, rough start, so what? We still know who you are, what you can do, just let it go. And
yeah, you see the potential in that routine.
Absolutely.
It's incredible form. Her toe point, her extension is gorgeous. And when she hits, she leaves very little room for deduction. And so they know that that's there. And so giving her that experience and time to work into it, because she makes it in the gym. It's something that's happening in the meets that she's got to figure out. And sometimes you just need time to work through it.
All right, we'll see Miley O'Keefe next for the Red Rocks over on bars as she talks to Jimmy Pratt, coach at that event. Over on beam now, Amari Evans performing for the Yankees.
Yeah, and again, this has been another pretty clean routine to start. Nice front aerial, back handspring. A little bit slow on the connection, but continuous movement.
This is the first performance on beam this season for Evans, a junior from McKinney, Texas. In fact, it's her first college beam performance.
And double full dismount, just taking a step on that landing.
All right, over to bars now for Utah, Miley O'Keefe.
Yeah, pretty good routine, a step on that landing. Maybe a bit shy on one of her cast handstands, so not quite as perfect as we sometimes see from Miley, but still a really good routine.
All-American on that event last year. Has gone every meet this season on bars. Had a 9.875 against Arizona last week. Her best score of the year was a 9.925. In fact, she's done that 4 times, the last coming here against Stanford. Let's go to floor now for Stanford. And Brenna Nault performing as the third up.
Opens up with a double pike. Nice double pike. Some good height on that. Nice lead pass. Sometimes you can see deductions there when someone doesn't quite make it all the way around and kind of cheats the landing, but she did a very nice job.
Brenna coming off a career-high time score of a 9.925 last week against Cal. Also had a 9.9 against Oregon State back in mid-February.
A little bouncy out of that Rudy, so a front 1.5. But Stanford does a really good job of engaging with the crowd and each other and the judges during this choreography.
Let's give you some scores for Utah over on bars as we await the performance of Grace McCallum in the 5 slots. And in fact, Grace is up. Let's watch her performance right now.
Beautiful low bar handstand. Floated that. Nice pack right into the stalder. And this routine is just chock full of releases and difficulty. Half in, half out. Nice landing, and you can hear the crowd.
Well, she's coming off a career high 10.0 last week against Arizona. She's got a 10.0 on floor and bars this year. The crowd wants a back-to-back 10 for Grace.
They're ready for it. They're ready for senior night scoring to start. And I think that was a good routine. And it looks like it'll go 9.975. So one judge puts up the 10 and the other gives her the 9.95. And I love Grace, beautiful, but I would say the 9.95 is probably pretty accurate. Some feet, maybe a little hanging on to that dismount at the end, so just not quite perfect. And to me, the 10.0 should be saved for perfection.
So she is the Pac-12 champion from 22, did not compete on bars last year with the hyperextended knee. Back in 22, she was the 4th lead all time to get multiple 10s on bars in a season. Hit that last week. Good performance tonight, and just not quite perfection for Grace.
No, but I mean, a 9.975 is pretty awesome. No, we just have gotten so used to 10s.
Yes.
All across the country.
So Utah now with 2 9.9 scores or better over on bars. Cami Winger at 9.9 as a second up. Milo Keefe, by the way, a 9.85 for her. And then the 9.975 from Grace McCallum. Alani Sabato ready to go in the number 6 position for Utah.
Yeah, and Alani's competed plenty of times. They slotted her into the 6th spot to hopefully take a little pressure off and give her a chance to do a routine, but that is not the case tonight. With the fall from Ella Zerbis, she will need to hit this bar routine in order to drop Ella's 9.0 score. But, you know, Alani's been here in the past. They threw her in without warming up in the Pac-12 championships on ball, and she won it for them a couple years ago, so she's no stranger to the pressure.
All right, for Utah State, Danny Kirstein just wrapping up on beam. She was the 4th up.
And she unfortunately had a fall in that routine, so they'll too have to work through that just as Utah is. And
they have yet to find a 9.8 score over on beam. On floor for Stanford, Anna Roberts, their 4th performer, is up. Let's go back over to bars for Utah. Alani Sabato to wrap up the rotation.
Nice Jaeger right into that overshoot connection. Good high bar handstand. It's just the double A here to finish it off. Oh, and Alani did it. Beautiful routine. And not just getting through it, beautiful routine. Stuck dismount, gorgeous.
Alani in her final time in the Huntsman Center.
What a moment.
Her best score of the year, a 9.875 against Cal to tie her career high. Let's see if the judges give it a 9.9 plus tonight. Sure looked like it.
It might be. It was a really great routine for Alani, and coming up in that pressure situation. Oh, I see 1.985, so we'll see what the other judge gives her. Either way, I think it's a win. 9.9.
So a 9.95 and a 9.85 averages to a 9.9.
That's a pretty big split.
Yeah.
You know, a 10th, but that's a pretty significant 10th in the scheme of things. I think a 9.9 is about right. So, you know, sometimes the split works for you.
Not at the tables always, but here, yes. Huh?
Fair point.
All right, so Alani Sabato, career high score of a 9.9, her final performance in the Huntsman Center. Now we'll wrap up bars for the Red Rocks. Now allows them to drop the score from Zerbis, who had a fall in the number 3 position. Utah puts up 3 scores of 9.9 or better on bars. They score a 49.5, same score as they had over on vault to start things. Exhibition now, let's watch this. Abby Paulson for Utah over on bars.
Yeah, and so far this has been a pretty clean routine for Abby as well. Hop forward on that dismount, but nice to see her back on bars in the Huntsman on her final night.
She's done bars as a scoring performer twice this year against Stanford and Cal. After not going at all last season, had a 9.75 against Cal. And a chance to go one final time as the super senior from Minnesota. Just wrapped up her performance over on bars for the Red Rocks.
Yeah, and throughout postseason, I think with Emily back, they might not use Abby, but still great to get one more time competing in case they need to throw her in at any moment.
So the judges scoring at a 9.85 and a 9.8 are making a 9.75, so that would average to a 9.8 as she was scoring. Well, let's go over the floor now for Stanford. And Tyrlyn Wynn, second to last for the Cardinal tonight.
And Stanford finally hitting that 9.825 with their last performer, and Wynn hoping to improve upon that.
Been a rough second rotation for both Utah State and Stanford. The Aggies, their best score on beam, a pair of 9.75s from Jalen and Eagles, and Stanford, their best score, a 98.25, as Kendall mentioned, from Anna Roberts in the 4 spot. But still 2 more to go for Stanford.
Yeah, and Terrelyn opens up with a really pretty double layout. She makes it look super easy, and it is not. Nice leaps there as well. She's just pretty bouncy. Gets a lot of height and amplitude on all of her jumps and flipping.
Wynn, a sophomore from Fair Oaks, California, had a career best score last week. A 9.925 against Cal, had a 9.85 against Utah here on February 23rd.
And closes with that 2.5 punch pike, an extremely difficult pass. Maybe it was a little off center, but extremely hard tumbling, and it's fun to see when someone can throw out some difficult tumbling.
All right, Brianna Brooks scored a 9.7 for Utah State R&B. They have 1 more to go. Lexi Aragon will be that clutch performer for Utah State tonight, as they are still looking for their first score of 9.8 this evening. Terrelyn Wynn wrapping up on floor, and Chloe Widner will be the last to go for Stanford in that event. The Red Rocks, once again, their first 2 events moved quickly. They got a 49.5 on vault, 49.5 on bars as they head to the back half of the meets. Lexi Aragon now for Utah State on balance beam.
Yeah, and so far this has been a clean routine. And she's looking to hit this routine to hopefully drop the 9-1 earlier in lineup. Goes back handspring layout. Nice landing there.
Lexi, a senior from Salt Lake City. Best score of the year for her on beam was a 9.925 that happened against Southern Utah back on February 2nd. Since then, 3 scores of 9.85.
Yeah, and it was a little off on that front toss there, so didn't quite get the connection, but hangs on to it. And this has to be an extremely difficult routine. It's pressure, and you can hear Utah doing their chants in the background. So just a lot happening in the arena. So really great job from Lexi hanging on to that routine, and that will definitely surpass the 9-1 and bump their overall total up.
All right, let's go over to floor. Final performer of this second rotation, at least in terms of scoring. And Chloe Widner up for Stanford.
Front layout, front full, clean landing. And she has a similar presence that she does on beam, just calculated, controlled, and executes extremely well.
Widner, a 5th-year senior, had a season best score, in fact, a career high score of a 9.975 on floor. So after 4 meets where she went just 1 event, which is bars, she came back going bars, beam and 4 the last 3 weeks. And last week scored a 9.925 on bars, 10.0 on beam, and a 9.975. So the 5th year really having a strong close to her final season.
Her dance is just gorgeous as well. Beautiful toe point.
So Stanford with a busy weekend. They've got a tri-meet against California on Sunday as well before they come back for the Pac-12 championships.
Nice bouncy double pike to finish that off. Sometimes the last pass, you can see some of the energy dying, but she made that look super easy, and a great floor routine to finish up for Stanford.
All right, so Victoria Clark will still go for them. At least is scheduled to go on floor in exhibition. Utah State done over on beam as they post a 48.350. That's after they went 48.9 on beam to start things. Aragon with a score of 9.425 to wrap things up. So their best score was a 9.75 from Jelen and Eagles in the first 2 spots. Exhibition beam now for the Aggies. Anna Roberts performing for them. Excuse me, it's Maya White going for Utah State.
And a nice triple series to open up for Maya. Great landing on that back handspring layout. Yeah, I think usually at this point in season we start seeing fewer exhibitions, but as we get into postseason, you can see teams trying to figure out if they have a little bit more depth and get some of that experience as we head off into Pac-12s, regionals, and especially if a team is going to have a play-in meet, so to speak.
Right.
So they might potentially compete 3 days in a row, and having that depth is going to be really important to make sure that they can last all 3 meets, because that's like doing 3 football games in a row. I don't care what you say.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
hard on the body, so getting ready for it and making sure you have that depth is important.
So Maya Whitty, a freshman from Green Acres, Florida, has gone on beam to score 4 times this year. Her best score, a 9.825 against Air Force. So for Utah State, this is the first year the Mountain West Conference has sponsored gymnastics. They've got Air Force, Boise State, San Jose State to compete against next weekend. They will host that meet in Logan. BYU used to be a member of the Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference with many of those schools. They've now moved on to the Big 12 Conference, where we will see them next year.
Yes, we will. Going back to Provo, we haven't done that in years as a gymnastics team. It's been the best of Utah.
Yep. All right, over the floor now for Stanford. Victoria Cluck is the final performer. She'll go exhibition for the Cardinal.
She opens up this floor routine with a double layout. Be a little squatty on the landing, and I see a flag, so that'll be a 1/10 deduction off of the top. So once they score the routine, they'll take a 10th off.
Victoria has had a scoring performance on floor 4 times this year, scoring as high as a 9.8 twice. Also got a 9.825 here at the Huntsman Center.
Yeah, and a beautiful second half. That 1.5 pike was extremely clean and great body position in the air. Gets ready here for her 3rd pass. Seen a few 3-pass routines here. I like it. We're seeing fewer and fewer of those. Double tuck. Another really clean pass. So just that first one was a little wonky on the landing, but the last 2 passes I thought were really well done.
So that will wrap up our second rotation. The scoring, the Red Rocks score a 49.5 on bars, led by Grace McCallum's 9.975, also a pair of 9.9s from Milani Sabato to anchor it, and Cammie Winger in the number 2 spot. And for Utah State over on beam, they score a 48.350. Their best score was a pair of 9.75s from Jelen and Eagles. And for Stanford over on floor, their best score was by their anchor performer, Chloe Widner, a 9.875, Stanford scoring a 48.925. So the Cardinal, after a 49.225 on beam, they go sub 4.9 in their second event. Utah State has been below 49 their first 2 events on bars and beam. So the team scoring after 2 rotations, Utah at 99 even, Stanford at 98.15, and Utah State 3rd place at 97.250. And America First is proud to sponsor Red Rocks Gymnastics and to be the U's official credit union. America First can help you take your financial skills to the next level with an elite roster of products and services, including flexible savings and checking accounts, member-exclusive deals and discounts, low-rate home, auto, RV, and business loans, and so much more. If you're a fan of better service, fewer fees, and getting more out of every dollar, join the winning squad today at your neighborhood branch or at AmericaFirst.com. Halfway through our tri-meet with number 5 Utah, number 25 Stanford, and Utah State. Back with the back half in just a moment. This is Red Rocks Gymnastics from Learfield. Welcome back to the Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City. Final meet of the regular season. Number 5 Utah, number 25 Stanford, as well as Utah State. Mike Lagerschild and Kendall Robarts Pond with you in this Red Rocks season. Brought to you by America First Credit Union, the only place you can get the exclusive Use Visa debit card. America First can help you, your family, or your business reach any financial goal faster. So wherever life takes you, Make sure you've always got a home floor advantage by becoming a member today at your neighborhood branch or at AmericaFirst.com. And doTERRA is proud to be the official essential oils partner of Utah Athletics. Learn more about how you can up your health game and wellness game as well at doTERRA.com. So the Red Rocks with a 99 even after 2 events, scoring a 49.5 on vault, 49.5 on bars, and they go to their best 2 events, Kendall, here in the back half.
Yeah, and that 49.5 is the exact score you need on all 4 events in order to hit that 198. So I think Utah is well on its way. As long as we can see the typical beam and floor, they should pretty well surpass that 198 score, which is exactly what they were hoping to do.
All right, so Utah, a comfortable lead here with a score of 99 even. Stanford scored a 49.225 on balance beam, a 48.925 on floor. They're at 98.150 after 2 events, and Utah State has been sub 49 their first 2 events. They're at 97.250. And so, as Kendall mentioned, the national qualifying score formula dropped your highest score. So Utah, with their best score of the year, above a 198, a 198.075 in fact here against Stanford. That score has been dropped. You get a 198 plus tonight, then all of a sudden that will bump your average significantly. You know, they've had so many 197.775, 197.750 scores. They've been in that neighborhood most of the year, but we'd love to get one more 198 score here tonight.
We would, and I think that that's good for confidence going into postseason, because we see a lot of high scoring in the regular season, and scoring typically drops. However, we're starting to see those big scores at nationals as well. Those 198s are pretty much requirement to making it on to day 2 and to possibly winning. And so to do that, I think Utah needs to see that they can score that in order to imagine themselves in that Final 4.
All right, so Utah currently ranked 5th in the country. Oklahoma 1, LSU 2. Cal, the Pac-12 Conference regular season champ, is number 3, followed by Florida. The Gators rising in recent weeks. They're number 4, Utah 5, followed by Kentucky, Alabama, Michigan State, Denver, and Michigan. Your top 10 as we are in the final week of the regular season. All right, rotation 3. Utah goes to balance beam. Utah State to floor exercise. Stanford over to vault. And for the Red Rocks, Cami Winger, McKenna Smith, Elizabeth Gantner, Grace McCallum, Abby Paulson, and Molly O'Keefe will be the 6 up for Utah. And as it's been in recent years, balance being the best event for the Red Rocks this season. They are ranked 4th there. They're also ranked 6th on floor, where they will wrap things up. So things set up well for the Red Rocks to hit that 198 plus mark here tonight.
Yes, and Amanda Zhang opens vault for Stanford. Starting quickly here and does Yurchenko full. We'll get the replay. You know, get a little cheat code that the judges don't have. Takes a fairly big hop on the landing. She piked down a little bit, but a good clean vault in the air. And that vault starts from that 995.
So Amanda Zhang's best score of the year, a 98.75. She hit that against Cal last week. Over on floor is Utah State. Jenna Eagles will start things for them. And our balance beam for Utah, Cami Winger to lead things off.
And she looks pretty confident up there. Nice combination, that front toss directly into that split leap. And you can just see, we've said this before in this meet, but the freshmen, even with Ella Zerbas's fall on bars, have just really found their stride. And Cami has done so well and worked her way into these lineup spots and has filled in really nicely as Amelie has been gone. And come on, hung on to it. Yep, hung on to that series.
So Cami now going to last 4 meets on balance beam for Utah. Her best score of the year, a 98.5 against Cal on the road, and a 98.25 last week against the Wildcats on the road.
Yeah, and getting these freshmen used to competing, especially on beam. Front gainer full. Nice routine for Cami. Is really important because next year we're losing some significant role players for beam, and so to have some people able to fill in who have had some experience will be important as we head into that.
Yeah, significant might be the biggest understatement you've had all season. With Abby Paulson, Miley O'Keefe departing. So
I know,
you're right.
painful.
Yeah.
I was trying to low play it, so didn't have to think about it quite so soon.
Yeah, I'll paint the real picture just so they understand what we're talking about
okay,
here.
Mike.
But the good news is we've got some big meets with that lineup as it is, plus Emily Morgan coming back to lead it off next week at the Maverick Center. All right, we'll get Cami score in just a moment. McKenna Smith will be second up for Utah over Armbeen. Brenna Nault just went for Stanford over Arnvalt, got a 9-8. That follows up a 9-7 from Amanda Zhang. Over on floor now for Utah State. I believe this is Jenna Eagles, the leadoff performer.
Yeah, and so far it's been a pretty clean routine. A little bit of a cowboy in that second pass double tuck. But a clean first pass.
Jenna, a 2 of that performer for the Aggies, going every meet on floor.
And we have the Stanford cheer section right next to us. Definitely bringing the energy.
So Jenna scoring as high as a 9-9 on floor this season, and happened at the Utah State quad meets. 2 weeks ago, had a 9.825 last week. So Jenna wrapping up for Utah State.
Replay of that double tuck. Yeah, and just a little bit of knee separation, and that's what I meant by a cowboy. That's what we call it in gymnastics terms.
All right, so we heard the roar for Chloe Widner, third up for Stanford on vaults. We'll get her score in just a moment. McKenna Smith now up on beam for the Red Rocks.
Yeah, McKenna's personality is just shining through with her beam music. Got some grease. It's been so fun to watch her. She's spunky and has just a fun personality.
McKenna going on beam. All but one meet this year did not go against Cal. Had a 9.825 score last week against Arizona. She's been 9.85 or better 3 times this year, the last coming against Oregon State.
Goes back handspring layout, solid landing. Gets nice height on that as well. Nice jumps there for her lead.
We look at McKenna going all around 8 of the first 10 meets with 4 wins in the all around. She's ranked 24th in the all around this year, but her scoring a bit down the last few weeks. You hope she's not kind of hitting that proverbial wall, or if she is, she can fight through it and kind of bounce back for postseason.
Yeah, and so far this routine has gone really smoothly, so hopefully she can find that. I think it's a long season and it's a grind towards the end, but that was a gorgeous routine for McKenna. Nice dismount, stuck landing, bringing some of the energy back.
So McKenna Smith already at 9.9 on vault, 9.875 on bars tonight. That'll be a solid score on beam as the second up for Utah in this third rotation.
Yeah, and hopefully starting that train of 9.9s throughout the rest of the lineup. That's what we're used to seeing, so we just expect that now.
Well, the judges at times have not cooperated. We've seen so many 9.975s back half, and I'm hoping tonight they might be a little more charitable, or the performances are just there and they had no choice. Either way, I think we'd all be happy with a 10.0 score too. As McCallum, Paulson, O'Keefe will wrap it up. Elizabeth Gatner will be third up before they go for Utah on balance beam. Let's head over to floor now if we can.
With Angel Stewart. Was just a little short on her first pass. She had to take a couple steps to hang on to it.
You've heard the roars again from the Stanford fans behind us. They've had a decent vault set with Nault to 9.8, Winner a 9.825, Gutierrez recently a 9.8. Roberts to win their last 2 to go.
And Angel goes double back. Nice landing, maybe a little loose in her hips, but gets a lot of height on it. Good routine for Utah State. And jumping back to Stanford, waiting for the next score. to post.
So Roberts just went, we'll get her score, and then we'll see.
And she had a beautiful 1.5 vault. Just a little bit of foot movement on the landing, but landed straight up and down. Really nice 1.5.
So just Tierlin Wynn to go for Stanford on vaults. Let's go over to balance beam, and third up for Utah, Elizabeth Gattner, another one of the rookies.
Yeah, and Elizabeth is someone they're looking for to hit this dismount landing, to start tuning into some of those cues and the sticks dismounts that she does in practice. A little wobble on that back handspring layout.
The freshman from Indianapolis coming off a 9.85 score last week. She's gone now the last 6 meets on beam for Utah. Best score of the year, a 9.875 against Washington.
And maybe a little short of that 180 degrees on that switch half for Liz. Nice full turn. She sets up here for this 1.5 dismount. And really looking for the stick here. Or front full dismount, excuse me. And found it. I knew she landed forward. That was what was in my head. Front full dismount, beautiful though. Really looks like she worked on that this week and was able to duplicate what she does in practice.
Yeah, Carly Dockendorf saying that's got to be the key for us. Find a way to be more consistent in meets. We do it in the gym. It has not translated, and really helped them with some visual cues to maintain focus from practice to competition. The past couple weeks felt as though they were on the right track, and a strong performance by Elizabeth Gattner for Utah in that 3 spot. Grace McCallum, Abby Paulson, and then Miley O'Keefe will be the last 3 for Utah. Score for Roberts was a 9.875. Wynn got a 9.9. So a strong close for Stanford on vault as they will score a 49.2. That's their second best event score tonight. Their best was a 49.225 on beam in the first event. So Stanford's score right now, a 147.350 as we only have balance beam, or make that bars, excuse me, left for them. Go back over to floor now. And this is Brianna Brooks for Utah State.
Yeah, and good first pass, maybe a little loose in her landing. Super high energy floor routine.
Brianna has gone all around 5 times this year. Best score on floor this season. And this is her weakest event. Was a 9.7 the Oklahoma quad meet, coming off a 9.6 last week against Air Force and San Jose State.
Next pass goes front 1.5. Little Rudy. Yeah, just a little bit of form in the air, but nice landing. And they seem pretty pleased with that.
So Eagles a 9.85, same for Stewart. Brooks third to go for Utah State. Still 3 more up for the Aggies on that event.
Yeah, they just look like they're having so much fun.
Which
Stanford
is what you
does
want.
too. They're
Yeah.
right in front of us. They're kind of in a different position than normal because they're avoiding being in the way of Utah State on floor, and it's kind of fun to be this immersed in the gymnast experience. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, great environment to perform in anytime. Great crowd here at the Huntsman Center, and now on balance beam for the Red Rush, Grace McCallum as the 4th performer. Grace has gone all now 11 meets this year. Her best score of the year, tied a career high with a 9.975 here against Stanford.
Just casual triple wolf turn into the double. I don't know if you saw this, Mike, but on her mic'd up in the gym that they did, she just casually accidentally did a quad wolf turn. She goes, I think that was 4.
I did see that.
Like, not even just confused that she did it. And it was perfect. Beautiful back handspring layout from Grace as well. So far, this routine is off to an awesome start.
I talked to Grace a few weeks ago and just said she's having so much fun this year. Had the injury last year. Freshman year was just so tired after the Olympia run. Kind of powered through it, but seems to be relaxed, is healthy, feeling good about things.
And just enjoying it. You can see her love for the sport has resurfaced, and it's shown. Beautiful gainer tuck full off the end dismount. A solid routine from Grace. The crowd's wanting a 10. We'll see what the judges go with. Get a replay here of this beautiful, incredibly hard wolf turn. We've seen more and more of those in college. But she just makes that look so easy.
To go from a triple to a double. Pretty amazing. She's had to help the judges at times.
Count them on her fingers.
Count them off and add them together for them. Her best score, in case you're wondering, a 9.975, and the crowd was hoping for a 10. They won't get it. We've got a 9.95 from one judge. In fact, both judges a 9.95.
You know, if we're being particular, which that's what gymnastics is about, I think she maybe had a bit of flex feet in that dismount. But a really beautiful routine from Grace, and it's nice to see her having fun and also doing so well.
Well, as we talked, you want to build those scores, and a great start to the back half to get a 9.95 with Abby Paulson and Miley O'Keefe, who's always has a 10 in play when she's aboard the apparatus. Those will be your last two for Utah. All right, over the floor now. Let's check in on Utah State.
Nyla Morabito was a little shy on her first double layout. Just maybe not quite the height she needed, but was able to make the landing. And then, yeah, just a little loose legs in that last pass.
Freshman from Welland, Ontario, Canada, coming off a 9.85 score last week against Air Force and San Jose State. She's gone as high as a 9.925 on floor this season. So that was Nyla Morabito for the Aggies. Amari Evans and Olivia Ossendorf, the last two for Utah State on this event. As we mentioned earlier, Stanford going quickly, as you always do on vault. Carolyn Wynn, a 9.9 to wrap it up.
Yeah, and they finished up there with a pair of really nice 1.5 Yurchenko vaults with really good landings.
All right, back over to balance beam. Two more to go for Utah. And here's Abby Paulson.
You hear Abby's signature Taylor Swift. She is officially in her T-Swift era.
I'm sorry you missed Era's night. It was really a great show.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah, all the pre-meet activities and just the feel of the event. Abby Paulson, 4-time All-American on this event. 2-time Pac-12 beam champion in 21 and 22. As we talked with all the 10s from Miley O'Keefe, you sometimes forget about how good Abby is on this event.
But then she likes to remind you.
Sure does.
She, not personally, just by watching the routine, you maybe forget, and then you see her go, and just beautiful.
Well, she has scored a 9.925 or better the last 8 meets before a 9.875 last week against Arizona.
That was beautiful.
She's
her
got
last
it.
routine in the Huntsman on beam.
Always emotional.
No, it's sad to see this era ending, but she has so many great things on her horizon. She is a double major in political science, kinesiology. She's going to be a policy maker and a change maker in the world, and someone who other little girls should look up to.
Well, you knew the tears were going to be coming. Let's see what the judges think of it. I hear a large roar. Do we have a 10 from one judge? Yes, we do.
Two judges.
Oh, my. Of all nights to get one, this was it.
And it really was a beautiful routine.
Abby Paulson, a 10.0. Her final time in the Huntsman. Got the first win of her career against UCLA back in 20. In fact, that 10.0 was Utah's first since Ashley Postel back in 2008, and that's when the Paulson O'Keefe machine got rolling.
And I was at that meet at UCLA right before COVID hit. It was a pretty awesome moment in Pauley Pavilion.
How about that? The two-time Pac-12 champion, Abby Paulson, final time in the Huntsman Center. A career best time, 10.0 on balance beam. The judges had a blank space and gave her a 10.
I see what you did there, Mike. Actually, I'm kind of impressed. Oh, you have a daughter.
I have a daughter.
I should have known.
I can't take too much credit, but thank you anyway.
I guess I should have said son. Maybe your son's really into Taylor Swift.
No,
I know plenty of men who love T Swift.
He's more than usually along for the ride. I'll put it that way on that. All right, so still one more to go for Miley O'Keefe. As everyone kind of settles back into their seats, let's check in on everybody else here quickly. This is Evans on floor for Utah State.
Yeah, and she unfortunately bounced out in her first pass, which just means she went out of bounds. So that'll be a deduction, but a fun routine. Lots of recognizable music.
Now, floor has been Evans' main event this year, coming off a 9.825 last week. Has gone as high as a 9.9 in her career and a 9.85 this season.
Nice double back to close. Gets a lot of height on that. They're used to the altitude, no problem.
All right, Olivia Ossendorf, the last one, set to go in a few moments for Utah State on floor. We'll get the score from Evans in just a moment, but let's settle in here. As I've said before, every time Miley O'Keefe prepares to perform on beam, you got a chance to see history rewrite itself. Already 14 career 10.0s. 13 on balance beam. She is currently tied for the school record of 10.0s. A chance to break it right here. Deep breath from Miley before she boards the apparatus.
You can feel the anticipation of the crowd. But if someone's ready for it, it's Miley.
Defending NCAA champion. Currently ranked number 2 in the country on balance beam. Coming off a 9.975 score last week at Arizona. She's been 9.925 plus, 8 of 9 performances this year. Already 3 10.0s on beam this season.
Feels to me like she's slowed down just a bit, taking her time, soaking in the moment. She always is cool and calculated, but this feels extra.
My guess is fighting emotions as much as the apparatus at this point.
I think absolutely. Can see it. She sets up here for her dismount. Back handspring gainer full. And a step on that landing. You could see it throughout the routine. Just a little bit of wanting it, but it'll still be beautiful.
Just did not happen tonight for Miley O'Keefe.
She still has plenty of chances for that 10.
Well, knowing her, we'll see it next week at the Maverick Center.
Or maybe on floor.
Or on floor, yeah.
We got a whole nother event, Mike.
Absolutely.
No, this is
hard, right?
Yeah,
this is so hard on senior night. You know this is it.
And I think beam, especially for Abby and Miley, has been their event, something that they've treasured and are so proud of how well they've done throughout their career. And to do it in the Huntsman Center, there's nothing like that.
You can see Miley just trying to slow down the heart rate and get through it. Did very well. It just will not be perfection tonight for Miley O'Keefe. And the school record remains tied with Teresa Kulikowski for career 10.0s in Utah history, but we hope 5 more performances left for Miley.
Let's go 5 more 10s.
Absolutely.
Just shatter it.
All right, last performer to score in this rotation, Olivia Ossendorf for the Aggies.
Yeah, and Olivia's first pass was pretty clean. Nice landing. Nice straddle jumps.
Out Out of Ramsey, Minnesota, coming off a 9.85 score last week against Air Force and San Jose State. Week before had a 9.925 at the Aggie Quad Meet.
Next pass goes double tuck. Nice toe point in that. Beautiful landing. Really great pass there.
Olivia Ossendorf wrapping up the scoring performances in this third rotation. Sarah Crump will go exhibition on beam for Utah, and Chelsea Southam exhibition floor for the Aggies. Miley O'Keefe, a 9.9 score in addition to the step in the landing. I saw a couple other things along the way.
Yeah, on her full turn a little bit, and it was actually, I think, maybe a little crooked on her series, just hit it really well.
So the Utes score a 49.6 on balance beam. They had a 10.0 from Abby Paulson, the second of her career. The 9.9 from Miley to wrap it up. Grace McCallum, a 9.95. As those last three go big at the end. Now here's Sarah Crump exhibition for the Red Rocks. Always fun when you get to see performers who normally don't get much of a chance to perform go exhibition.
Really nice to see Sarah hit that triple series. Nice back handspring layout.
Sophomore from Las Vegas out of Brown's Gymnastics.
Beat jump into that front toss to knee. A little bobble, but man, that's difficult, and hung on to it.
Sarah was fourth on beam at the 2021 Junior Olympic Championships. It just has continued to work, is what we've heard from Carly Dockendorf. Has not given up on her chance to make this lineup.
And I think, as we mentioned, we're losing a few people this next year, and hopefully her time will come to make it into that lineup. Sits up here for her dismount. Front full, finds that landing, perfect stick. Nice for Sarah Crump. Really wanted to hit that routine and got it.
Nice for Sarah Crump to wrap it up on beam for the Red Rocks going exhibition.
Have one more on floor, so this one also exhibition, so does not count into the point total, and they're still waiting on Ossendorf's score. They're having a judges conference, so might be a bit.
They've all gathered off to our left here. In the meantime, we'll tell you this Red Rock season brought to you by America First Credit Union, the only place you can get the exclusive Utes Visa debit card. America First can help you, your family, or your business reach any financial goal faster. So wherever life takes you, make sure you've always got the home floor advantage by becoming a member today at your neighborhood branch or at AmericaFirst.com. All right, the judges have broken up their huddle. We'll see if we can get a score for Olivia Ossendorf in just a moment. Utah scoring right now with that 49.6 on beam. As we said, they were trending for a 198 with back-to-back 49.5s on vault and bar. So now with that 49.6, that gains of a 10th above the pace. They're at 148.6 as we go to floor. In this last rotation, Stanford at 147.350 after they score a 49.2 on vault. They also went 49 plus on beam tonight with a 49.225. Just missed a 49 on full with a 48.925. So another respectable night for Stanford in this building with a 147.350. And the Aggies awaiting the score for Ossendorf to post. We'll get that in just a moment. As Chelsea Southam prepared to go exhibition now for Utah State to wrap up our third rotation. So Chelsea, a sophomore from Heber City, has not had a scoring performance on floor so far this year. It's gone twice on vault.
Front layout, front 1.5. Just a little feet in the air. Make sure those are fully pointed. But a good landing. maybe a little shy of that 180 degree on that straddle. Yeah, I really love Utah State's energy. They really kept it up, and it can be hard in a very Utah area, but they've done such a nice job. Sets up for her next pass. Double tuck, chest a little down, but made that landing pretty well in spite of it. Hey, they just seem to be having fun. Nice backup routine for them if they need it.
So Utah State's best score of the year, a 196.275. They come into this meet with a national qualifying score that ranks 42nd. Their best event was bars, as they will go to ball next, where they rank 53rd in the country. Just a different level of program, but still, as you mentioned, energy's good, and they've got the conference championships. Next week they will host up in Logan with Air Force, Boise State, San Jose State coming into the building. That will do it for our fourth rotation. The score is up for Ossendorf, a 9.85 for her, so the Aggies on floor, they get their first 49-plus score of the night, a 49.075. They've got 3 scores of 9.85 up for Eagles, Stewart, and Ossendorf, so a good rotation for Utah State, as their score goes to 146.325. In second place, Stanford 147.350. And the Red Rocks chasing down their second 198 score of the year. They stand at 148.6. As we head to our final rotation, this is Red Rocks Gymnastics from Learfield. And welcome back to the Huntsman Center. The Red Rocks closing in on a 198-plus score, perhaps. That's not why the crowd is cheering. They just announced that Miley O'Keefe will be with the Red Rocks next year as a student assistant coach. She wants to get into coaching. I talked to her a few weeks ago, and she was thinking, yeah, if we got to go club, I will. But they were hopeful it would work out, and they just told the crowd here she's sticking around. That's great news. Yeah, you could hear how excited they are to have her. She's going to be a fantastic coach, and to get the experience and leadership and knowledge from this coaching staff is really great for her and her future career. All right, so Miley O'Keefe will be sticking around after her career wraps up. One more event for all 3 teams tonight. The Utes at 148.6. Stanford second place at 147.350, and the Aggies at 146.325. The Red Rocks need just a 49.4 on floor to get a 198, and we've seen them float out of the building. And Kendall, you picked up on the fact that the scoring was, I won't say inflated, but maybe a little bit generous at times on floor, which could be really good news for the Red Rocks looking for a 198-plus scorer, and they need to close out on floor tonight. Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna see some senior night floor scoring, so definitely in the favor of Utah at this point. But you know, hopefully we see some reasonable scores, but I'm sure that if they leave it out there for the judges to decide, they'll err on the side of higher. All right, and you can find your family's trusted pediatric dentist, orthodontist, or oral surgeon through the Utah Children's Dental Network. Visit utahcdn.com or call 385-279-2236 today. All right, this last rotation, the Red Rocks go to floor. Utah State vault, Stanford on bars. The Red Rocks will be at the Pac-12 Championships. The final go-around, as we know it, at the Maverick Center, 1 p.m., 6 p.m. are the 2 sessions next Saturday. The Red Rocks will be in the night session with the Cal Bears, also UCLA, and Oregon State. Should be a dynamite competition out there. And Stanford will be in the afternoon session beginning at 1 p.m. Utah State getting ready for the Mountain West Conference Championships up in Logan next Saturday. And before Stanford goes to Pac-12s, they got a head back out to Berkeley for a tri-meet against Cal and Sac State on Sunday, then back here for the Pac-12 Championships next Saturday.
That's a pretty intensely packed schedule for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they had Cal on the 10th as well. So strong close, busy close to the season for Stanford, but they've had good energy tonight. Let's go over and check in on Ana Paula Gutierrez first up for Stanford, just with her dismount.
We'll have to maybe check the replay on that one.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a moment. We are ready for showtime on the floor. McKenna Smith leads it off for the Red Rocks.
Really nice front double full from McKenna. Great body position and really good landing. And as we said on beam, that spunky personality comes out even more on floor for her. She's just fun to watch.
Yeah, this event tailor-made for McKenna Smith.
Yep. And I had someone before the meet who's been watching Utah gymnastics for a long time just say she's been so fun to watch. She's someone that you remember. You notice her, and she's someone you look for, and you wait for her to compete every night. And so I would tend to agree. She's somebody that draws you in, and you just want to watch her shine. And another beautiful pass from McKenna right there.
McKenna Smith coming off a 9.85 last week at Arizona, her best score of the year, a 9.925 at the best of Utah. Has not gone 9.9 or better the last 5 routines. But appears to be on track here with this performance. Good energy feeding off the crowd here this evening.
Absolutely, and finishes up here with that Rudy straddle jump. Nice controlled landing. That'll be a good score for McKenna. The crowd is ready. They've been waiting for floor all night.
They have. They've been waiting for the Bee Gees, and that performance from McKenna Smith. That'll be a good score for McKenna. Her scores tonight, 9.9 on vault, 9.875 on bars, 9.875 on beam. Should be in that 9.9 territory on floor. Going to be another strong all-around for McKenna Smith.
Oh, and Sorrento over on bars for Stanford. Just a little over-rotated on that double layout dismount and couldn't hang on to it. So they're going to be fighting an uphill battle here to not count that fall.
All right, a score up for both Utah State and Stanford on their 4th rotation events. Brooks led off vault with a 9.85. Gutierrez a 9.8 on bars for Utah State before we just saw the fall from Sorrento.
And it looks like unofficially McKenna scores a 9.9, so a great start for this floor rotation for Utah.
So McKenna Smith, Abby Paulson, Jalen Rucker, Jalen Gilstrap, Grace McCallum, and Miley O'Keefe. And perhaps never in your wildest dreams would you dream of a 10.0 on beam on senior night for Abby Paulson.
You wouldn't get your hopes up like that, but it really was beautiful.
So Abby Paulson now over on floor. Going 2 events tonight for the Red Rocks.
Yeah. Reining in those emotions a bit after that incredible beam performance to her final routine in the Huntsman Center. We'll get all 4 seniors on this event. Alani in exhibition.
Abby Paulson going on floor all but 4 meets during her career, ranked tied for 7th in the country, coming off a career-high tie scoring of a 9.925 last week at Arizona.
Yeah, and her first pass was just beautiful. That front through to 2.5. Great landing there. Beautiful second pass. Extremely clean. And something I think Abby's done a great job of reining in some of those deductions that she had in the first part of her career on this event. That 2.5 she's done throughout her time and has fought through some landings and has just done a beautiful job this year of finding that each and every time. Oh, stuck her last pass. She might be fighting that 10 on this one too.
Well, there's another blank space there. Perhaps the judges will double up on 10.0s.
What a senior night for Abby Paulson. I don't know if she could have done this any better. You couldn't have, as you said, dreamed that up any more perfectly than that.
Will the judges go along? Let's see. Crowd's certainly trying to help them.
Either way, that was the best Abby could do that routine.
Absolutely. Yep, if you want to end it, that's how you want to end it.
That's how you want to end it. I'm going to say it's a 9.95.
Abby Paulson on this event is...
Oh, a 9.9 from one.
Okay.
9.95. So a 9.925. And yeah, I really do think that's probably the best Abby can do that routine. It's beautifully done.
So that ties her career high score. She's hit that score now 8 times on floor. As you mentioned, she's kind of found a way to get rid of those deductions. She's been so consistent this year, has been 9.9 or better 8 of the last 9 performances.
Yeah, that it proves it. She had her best night she could possibly have. The 10-0 on beam, her high score, and then her high she's ever gone on floor as well. I think that shows just where Abby's at in her career. It's hard to imagine leaving when you're at the top of your game.
Yeah, she will have to do just that, unfortunately. All right, another crowd favorite, Jaden Rucker, another super senior, third up on floor for Utah.
Jaden goes. Hit it. She's been fighting to really get back to where she wanted to be on both floor and vault, and just did it there. Beautiful landing.
Jaden Rucker, a former Pac-12 champion, as she tied for the title back in 21. Coming off a score of a 9.875 at Arizona last week. Did hit 9.9 against Cal, a season high a few weeks ago. Her career best score, a 9.95 back in 21.
And such an entertaining floor routine. Great dance, fun and engaging. And then just big time tumbling. Lots of power. One and a half run layout, and that's probably the best floor routine Jaden's done this year. Good for her. This arena's gonna have too many emotions by the end.
Had to be so happy for Jaden Rucker. Again, was very open about the fact she was fighting it mentally about 5-6 weeks ago after tweaking that knee early in the season. But has fought it off and has had a great floor performance tonight. Really a good night for Jaden Rucker with a 9.9 on vault. Now this floor performance, but even before tonight, the last few weeks, starting to see the old Jaden back for the Red Rocks.
Absolutely.
At the right time.
The exact right time. And you want to go out on a high note, and to see her getting back there is really nice to see. Someone who's put so much of their love and time into this program to get it back. And she'll go 9.925 alongside Abby. So great start for Utah on floor. 9.9, 9.925, 9.925 for the first 3 up.
Well, you talk about rolling 9.9s. That's what they've done. And then you've got Jaylene Gilstrap coming off her career best score last week. Then Grace McCallum, who's gone 10.0, and Miley O'Keefe to wrap it up.
That's a pretty strong, yeah, wrapping it up with your national champion on this event.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I saw a vault, startled me a bit.
It looked like a step on the line there for Utah State's Stewart to wrap it up. Angel Stewart in the number 6 spot.
Get the replay here on that vault. And she hung on to it, I think.
All right, let's go back to floor. And someone who has announced she's coming back for one more go-around, Jaylene Gilstrap, the Texas native, on floor for the Red Rocks.
And she's just a beautiful gymnast to watch. Beautiful dancer, great extension through her hands and feet, gorgeous toe point. And I really love that first pass. She gets more amplitude on the second Rudy than she does on the first.
We kept hearing from Tom Farden her background in dance was going to translate to this event, especially as time progressed, and it certainly has for Jaylene Gilstrap.
Yeah, and I think her tumbling has improved greatly throughout her time, too.
She's had 8 scores of 9.9 or better. Going back to 23. Been 9.9 the last 6 this season.
Really nice last pass there for Jaylene. And once again, this is going to be a 9-9 range score for Utah. Fourth up, Jaylene.
The Red Rocks are rocking it on the floor. They can smell that 198 plus score they wanted to get tonight.
Absolutely.
With Grace McCallum and Miley O'Keefe still to go.
I'd say they need to hit one of the last two in order to hit that score.
All right, so Utah State done on vault. Stewart, Angel Stewart with a 9.725. Their best score was a 9.85 from both Brianna Brooks and Olivia Ossendorf. So the Aggies over on vault, a 48.9. That's after they scored a 49.075. We've seen the scores for Jalen Gilstrap. What a 9.9 from one judge.
And a 10 from the other.
My goodness.
They're ready for that 10.
So a 9.95 for Jalen Gilstrap, and after getting it for the first time last week against Arizona, she doubles up. Another 9.95 back-to-back for Jaylene.
Good for her. I think just that floor routine has improved so much. The dance has always been beautiful, but the tumbling is really there as well this year, and beautiful job.
All right, so the best score of the night on the board for the Red Rocks at 9.95 for Jalen Gilstrap. All four have been 9.9 plus. And here we go, Grace McCallum, former Olympic silver medalist with Team USA. Already has found perfection on this event this season. That coming against Stanford here at the Huntsman Center. She's been 9.95 or better already 4 times this season. And had one of those 9.95 scores last meet against Arizona.
Beautiful full in for Grace. Clean, easy. Nice jumps there for Grace. And I just love this. She looks like she's having fun. This routine has done a really nice job, I think, of letting her personality come through.
They told her, just smile a little bit more. We know you want to. We know it's there. So focused and so just unassuming, I think is the best word that I can use to describe her. She'll perform and nails it and just acts like, oh, I guess I kind of did okay.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
Unassuming is perfect. Yes, that is exactly right. Front layout, Rudy. Another beautiful floor routine for Utah.
Grace McCallum, All-American on floor back in 22. Did not compete at Nationals last year after that knee hyperextension, but came back and was so good on bars and being back-to-back nights in the semis and the finals. Has a chance to do a lot more than that this year. This is the best we've seen Grace McCallum as a Red Rock.
It is, and I think it's the happiest too, and those two things are definitely correlated, and fun to see her doing so well. And what a rotation for Utah so far. This is definitely hitting that.
We got a 10 from one judge and a 9.95 from the other.
9.975 for Grace, and that'll well put them over that 49.4 that they needed. See where that leaves Utah. Just under a 190. I'm not going to do it. I'll just wait. It'll be up there in a second.
Let the computer do it for you as it comes up. Well, that was a goal to reach 198 tonight. Well, I tell you, Kendall, we've got a judge to our left who seems to be going along with
10 happy.
The idea of some 10.0s.
She's wanting it for them.
I'd say stay with it, and we'll see if we get some cooperation from the other side as we come to our final performance. Super senior Miley O'Keefe, former national champion on this event. Coming back in 21. Also won the Pac-12 title that year. All-American on floor a year ago, as well as the all-around national champion.
Beautiful double pike from Miley. Maybe a little bit of a larger step on that landing than you're looking for. She keeps it so controlled.
Tied for 21st in the country on floor. A little misstep there as she came down. She's gone 9-9 or better 7 times on floor. Had a 9.95 against Cal in her last performance. That tying a season high.
Yeah, I think she's maybe just trying to be perfect a little too much. Wants it just fair. But I mean, we've both noted things, but they're so small, so this is still going to be, as long as this last pass goes, yeah, this is still going to be a very good score from Miley. I don't expect a 10, but I bet it goes 9.95, or I'd be shocked.
For the final time, Miley O'Keefe in the Huntsman Center. What a career.
What a career. It's been so fun to watch it. And just the senior class is so much more than who we've seen on this floor. They're incredible humans, they're driven, and they're going to do amazing things.
When we talk about this group, Utah 3rd in the country the last 3 years. This class that departs tonight, a big part of that.
They are, and the leadership they've provided, I think, will impact the team for years to come.
Well, this was a group that had their postseason taken away because of COVID. And they were humming along. I mean, that was a team that, you talk about national championship,
yep.
You know, form
Missy
we were
Ryan
seeing.
Sadler.
Yep, it was all there for them that year in 20. Also because of COVID, the seniors got a bonus year, as super seniors. They've made the most of it. We'll get the score from Miley O'Keefe here in just a moment. The Red Rocks now 198-275. Already on the board before Miley's score will post.
So Miley's will bump that up 0.025, so they'll get to that 198.3 once it, I mean, unofficially, but I mean, I'm not terrible at gymnastics math, so should be pretty right on there.
Well, at least you tried. I didn't even take a stab at it.
I got you on that one, Mike.
So Utah's previous best score, a 198.075 against Stanford here, February 23rd. And again, with the national qualifying score formula, that score was dropped until now. So that score can go with all the high 197 scores, and that should definitely keep Utah locked into that number 5 spot. Florida ranked 4th as we head into competition this weekend, and the Red Rocks trying to fight off Kentucky and hold on to that number 5 seed nationally as we head to the postseason. All right, exhibition now for the Red Rocks. Alani Sabato, also a senior, in her final time in the Huntsman Center.
And Alani's someone who I think really embraced her role. She's come in and come through in clutch moments. We saw that tonight on bars, but we've seen that throughout her career, and she's smart, a joy to be around, and someone that everybody on the team wants to do well.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Clutch performance at Pac-12's back in 21. They just need someone to land it. Scores a 9-8 to wrap up the Pac-12 championship, the first of 3 in a row for the Red Rocks, that they're hoping to make 4 in a row next week.
And that was without warming up in the second touch. So
yeah,
did it pretty cold and came through pretty amazing, and she's just a kind human.
Out of Temecula, California.
Nice Alani, good double tuck to end that. So fun to see her out there. Nobody more deserving than Alani.
Great moment for her as well. And that will wrap it up for our tri-meet of Utah, Utah State, and Stanford.
What a great night.
Fun night of gymnastics.
You know, it's nice to see Utah do exactly what they planned to do. They had a plan, and they were able to execute and put up that huge 198.3, which will really help them in the rankings and hopefully with a preferable placement for regionals.
Well, after that good road score last week of a 197-875, he thought they were primed for a big score. He just had to wonder about the emotions. Can they fight them off? And we saw, some battle that at times tonight, but they persevered pretty well to post a season best score of 198.3. The Red Rocks scoring a 49.5 on vault, 49.5 on bars. They go 49.6 on balance beam, and what a close. A 49.7 on floor for them. All 6 scores on the board, 9-9 plus, including a 9.975 from Grace McCallum, a 9.95 from Jalen Gilstrap to tie her career high, and 3 scores of 9.925 from Paulson, Rucker, and O'Keefe. McKenna Smith a 9.9 to starter, so Utah at 198.3. In second place, Stanford, a 196.5. Utah State, a 195.225. And, I think you look at the Stanford team, their best score of the year was a 196.975 at Cal last week. But before then, they had a lot of scores in that 196 range. And, they had a couple, 196.725s, 196.625, and so forth. So this will be one of the better scores for Stanford. But still, they seem to have fun tonight. And the Aggies did as well. I think all 3 teams probably walk out feeling pretty good about how things played out tonight overall.
I think so too, and fun meet overall. A lot going on, so I think a good way to warm up for postseason play, because that gets a little hectic too, and having the chance to experience that as we get closer, I think is an important step.
All right, tonight's Impact Stats brought to you by the David Eccles School of Business, giving tomorrow's business leaders the confidence to impact their world. Our all-around winner tonight, Grace McCallum, a 39.825. Big score for Grace in the all-around tonight for the Red Rocks as you look at her night overall for Utah. Grace McCallum scoring a 9.925 on vault, 9.975 on bars, 9.95 on beam, 9.975 on floor. Grace McCallum, your all-around winner tonight.
Yeah, if she does that, she has a chance of winning that all-around title at Nationals.
She sure does. That puts her right there.
And it's something we know she's been capable of, but I think we're starting to see her put it all together this year, and I think that vault was the final piece, and if she's able to continue doing a vault like that, that'll really help her at Nationals.
All right, so a career high score for Grace McCallum, 39.825, wins all around. That impact stat brought to you by the David Eccles School of Business. Second in the all-around, McKenna Smith, a 39.550, and Stanford's Chloe Winder, a 39.5 in third place. Let's run down the event winners over on vault. Ella Zerba's a 9.925, same score for Grace McCallum. They tie for first on vault. McKenna Smith, a 9.9. Jaden Rucker, also a 9.9. Taylor Wynn for Stanford there, 9.9 as well. And you mentioned vault for the Red Rocks. At times that's been a struggle for them tonight, a 49.5. And to see Grace go out to that 1.5 is working for her, and we need that score. If we're going to go to regionals, nationals, even next week and have a chance to win, you got to be in that 49.5 range on vault.
Yeah, and I think Jaden's vault finally hitting that landing, that's a really good. Utah needs Jaden Rucker on vault, and for her to bring that in tonight, I think will give her some confidence going into postseason.
Grace McCallum wins bars with a 9.975. Juliet Boyer, Cami Winger, Alani Sabato, and Ira Alexeva of Stanford, a four-way tie for second place at 9.9. We go to balance beam and check the scores there. Abby Paulson, a 10.0 to win it on senior night.
Yeah, that was the moment of the night. Beautiful job from Abby, and it really was perfect.
Grace McCallum of Utah, second place at 9.95, and Chloe Winder, third place for Stanford on beam with a 9.925. And on floor for the Red Rocks, one judge wanted to give it a 10, the other one wouldn't quite go along, so Grace McCallum, the winner nonetheless, a 9.95 for her. Jalen Gilstrap, second place, a 9.95. Abby Paulson, Jaden Rucker, Molly O'Keefe, all tying for third place at 9.925.
Yeah, just a dynamite floor rotation. They knew they wanted a big score on that event, and they delivered from top to bottom of that lineup. I think everybody did almost their best routine.
All right, so the Red Rocks close out the regular season, the number 5 team in the country, a season best score here at home of 198.3. Stanford second place, 196.5. Utah State third place, 195.225. Final comments for this portion of our broadcast from Kendall Robarts Pond.
I think this is the meet we've been waiting for Utah, and hopefully it gives them confidence going into postseason to know that not only do they think they should be there, the scores show that they are capable of that as well. And I think getting Emily back will help, and what a great job from Utah and all the other teams tonight.
All right, this Red Rock season brought to you by America First Credit Union, the only place you can get the exclusive Use Visa debit card. America First can help you, your family, or your business reach any financial goal faster. So wherever life takes you, make sure you've always got the home floor advantage by becoming a member today at your neighborhood branch or at AmericaFirst.com. Grace McCallum wins 2 events plus the all-around, a career best score of 39.825. Wins the all-around tonight. The Red Rocks a season best score of 198.3 to win this one to close out the regular season. Our thanks to Aaron Jester, Zach Blaine, Eric Dyer on the TV side, Olivia Bennion back at our ESPN 700 studios. Thanks to her as well. For those of you on the radio side, stay with us. Post-meet coverage coming your way, and for everyone else, we appreciate you joining us. On Pac-12 Insider, the Red Rocks, number 5 team in the country. An impressive way to close it out. Takes down Utah State and Stanford tonight at the Huntsman with a season best score. That will do it for us. For Kendall Robarts Pond, I'm Mike Lagerschultz. Thanks for joining us. So long, everybody.